All right, guys, welcome to Pick Money, the podcast, episode 51. Thank you so much for jumping on. The key to being presumptive in sales. The thing about every time I train people in sales, I'll inevitably get to the end of the training, or it'll be, it'll be a 2-day event we have, or I was on a Zoom for an hour, and people say, I'm trying to understand how you have so much confidence in your sales presentation approach. And I'm like, well, what is your goal? And they'll say, well, what do you mean? I go, well, you're a salesman, you're a salesperson. What is your goal? Well, to be successful. I'm like, okay, well, how do you measure success? I'm like, well, I'm like, no, I'm asking you. There's no trick question. How do you measure success? How do you measure success? And they'll say to me, usually, how much of my product I sell. Whatever the product is, I get paid from my family when I sell the product. The client gets the product they ask for. That's a success. I go, okay, well, what percentage are you shooting for? A close ratio. So the first thing you need to know what your close ratio goal is. Because you need to know if you're having where you are each week. If it's 20%, 50%, 80%, 90%, 31%, you need to know your numbers. And they'll give me whatever number they give me. And I'll say, okay, what has been, when you listen to me talk and you listen to my sales presentation, you listen to my phone script, you listen to my in-home, you listen to the way I break it down, what do you pick up the most? And typically I can get them to answer their own question. And they're eventually well, you just assume the sale. And I'm like, yeah, it's easy to be presumptive when I'm assuming that they're going to buy, right? I don't use language that leaves any doors open to any result other than you asked for this with what you sent in. You wanted the information, which means you want the product. My job is to provide the product. I am a guy that does, that's what I do for a living. I provide the product. So you're obviously going to get it today, and here's how we're going to do it. When I'm calling you, I'm not trying to figure out if you're going to buy it. When I'm calling is making sure I get you the product. I'm not calling to see if you want to buy it. I'm calling to get you the product. When I'm on the phone with you, I'm assuming the sale the entire time. I'm never assuming you're not going to buy. I'm never if I do that, that's a kiss of death on our business. I can't assume you're not going to buy. So I am presumptive. I'm presumptive in every single thing I say on the phone. Every single thing I say, you're listening to. I'm trying to direct you to where we're supposed to go. I'm trying to let you know how serious I am about what I do. I'm trying to let you know how confident I am about it. I'm also trying to take the doubt in the decision-making away from you as it pertains to why you won't. You ask for the product. I have the product. You have the means to buy the product. You're buying the product. And that was when I would go out to people's homes and I would talk to people about, I remember Mike Sizer, I was in here the other day with him, and I'm like, do you remember the first time I took you in the field? He's like, yeah, dude, I believed everything you were saying in the sales training. I just believed it. But some of it was hard. I believed it, and I more wanted to believe it. But I didn't know when you got to people's houses, you were really that presumptive and that assertive. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, I didn't think you just knock on a door, and when they opened it, hey, I'm getting back. You filled this out. Yep, they got me out here this time. You want me to take my shoes off? And then before I knew it, he said they were following you to the dining room table where you'd sit down and go, here's. And I said, he goes, no, I believed it. I just thought it would be uncomfortable. And I said, uncomfortable for them or uncomfortable for you? See, being presumptive is not worrying about your comfort level. A lot of folks can't be presumptive in sales because as they're thinking about what to say, they're thinking about what could go wrong. They're thinking about what the client might say that they just get really uncomfortable really fast. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not uncomfortable doing my job. I shouldn't be uncomfortable when I'm talking to you. I'm doing what you asked me to do. So it's not, do you remember filling this out and why did you fill it? Tell me what you were thinking about when you filled it out. Tom, when you fill this out, I'm assuming you fill it out for the same reason everybody else did. You wanted to buy a house. You wanted life insurance. You needed new doors and windows. Whatever it is I'm selling, I don't ask open-ended questions and just let you ramble. When you ask me questions, because you're challenging me a little bit, well, I don't know if I want this. This isn't a good time. Can you call me back later? Tom, when would be a good time? There's never a good time. I'm on the phone with you now. Let's just take care of it now. It won't take long. So anyway, Tom, like I was saying, presumptive is hearing what you're saying, acknowledging it professionally, and then moving past it. You know, I know I should do this, but I really probably should talk to my uncle. All right, let me ask you something. Does your uncle have a real estate license? No. Does he have an insurance license? No. Then that would just, with all due respect, be weird or waiting for your uncle, obviously. So anyway, like I was saying, and I move right back to the product. And it's hard for you to argue because it's like I'm moving right back to the product. And I think that it's getting people to understand that concept of your presumptiveness will lead to success. Your uncomfortableness will lead to failure. And I've seen it forever, but it's how do you handle it? If you know the client wants what you're offering and you believe in your own ability, then the only thing, like really all we need to do is make sure they know you believe in you believe in them, you're going to go ahead and make the sale, you're assuming the sale, you're very presumptive. What does presumptiveness tell you about an agent? It tells you he or she is confident. What does confidence tell you? It typically lets us believe they're more qualified. What does their more qualified tell you? That that's somebody I want to be in business with and I trust to protect my family, sell me a house, sell me life insurance, get me doors and windows, whatever is selling. So that's a chain of events that is triggered by the presumptiveness. And you can hear it in people's voices and you can hear the lack of it. Also, a key to being presumptive is the pattern in which you speak with. And what I mean by that is if I call you and I ask a couple questions and you start rambling and I don't nicely cut you off and move on to the next thing, I'm not assuming the sale. I'm not presumptive. I'm just there for you to basically ask me a million questions and beat me down on the phone. I don't want to participate in that. Why would I want to participate in that? So you got to talk fast enough where they don't interrupt you, but just slow enough where they can understand you. That's a very fine balance for people, but that's a massive key to presumptiveness. Well, Shawn, you know what I was thinking? That I go, yeah, no, I hear you, Tom, on that. I just kind of, dude, my job's not to call and listen to you talk and pontificate for 47 minutes about why you haven't bought the product yet, even though you want to buy the product. You fill it out, you send it to me, and you know you want it. And you know I'm qualified to sell it to you. I'm licensed to sell it to you. I'm on the phone. We can take care of it now. And you want to pontificate for 47 minutes about why you're not getting it. You've already not gotten it forever because you keep talking yourself out of it, even though you know you need it. Why am I going to be involved in that? That would be weird. So I just stop. I'm like, yeah, Tom, I hear you on that. But here's what I need you to know. You wouldn't have filled this out if you didn't need the product. I wouldn't have called you if I didn't work here. So we've confirmed you need it. We've confirmed I work here. I wouldn't have called you if I'm not licensed and qualified to sell you the product. We wouldn't be on the phone right now if you didn't need it and that you didn't have a problem and I didn't have a solution. So let's get to me providing the solution. I'm not great a lot, Tom, but I'm really good at my job here. Let me get the information and find you the best product for you and your family. Boom. That's it. Presumptiveness. That's what it's all about. But if you want to sit and listen to Tom talk for 47 minutes and hope by the time he's done that he still wants to listen to you, your lack of presumptiveness will lead to your failure. It will. Your unwillingness to be assertive will lead to your failure. You know, I was in the police academy a very long time ago, and they brought these two individuals in to train. They're both police officers. I don't know how long they've been police officers for. One guy was probably 6'3", 235, 240. Other dude was probably 5'8", buck, 50, maybe. And the instructor said these two have been on the job the same period of time. Which one of them do you believe has less physical incidents while they're arresting clients, while they're arresting people? They weren't clients, I don't think. Arresting clients. Arresting people. I'm so sales driven. I've been in the police academy a long time ago. Arresting people. And I remember everybody going, well, obviously that guy, he's not as big. And that was the tone for all of them. And I never forget the instructor saying, anybody else have any other opinion? I said, I do. I said, I don't know either one of them. I'd have to hear the way they interact with people. And he said, that's interesting. Can you be more specific? And I was like, yeah. I said, I would assume that the one that does a better job controlling the situation verbally has less of a less physical incidents because they took control of the situation. Lack of structure has people act out. And he looked at me and he's like, yeah, and he went on to explain a lot more. But basically, and these guys demonstrated for us. And the guy that was bigger was really nice. He was just like, I never did a good job communicating with people. Like I just kind of, and maybe I was bigger. I thought they just listened, but before you know it, he's like, I'm in these altercations. And then the other guy was like, when I get in, I say this and this and that. Like, you called 911. I'm doing my job. I showed up. What? Like, I'm here. I need you to get there. I hear you, ma'am. I need you to have a seat right over there. Bro, I'm not mad at you, bro. I need you to have a seat. We're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to figure it out, bro. Everybody's screaming and yelling. It's giving me a headache. We can't get there with everybody yelling at each other. So y'all call 911. They sent me here because I work here. I'm now here. I got you. Hey, man, I know you're behind me. I feel better if you're in front of me. If you don't mind, I don't got eyes in the back of my head. I just want to talk to all three of you. Boom. He's controlling the situation as opposed to not and then getting frustrated when somebody's, you don't say nothing to the guy behind you, and then you turn around and start screaming at the top of your lungs at him, Don't be behind me. He's like, dude, I didn't know it. Calm down. I said, and all of a sudden, people are in each other's faces. So it's the presumptiveness with which you handle things. You don't have to be a salesperson for 20 years, 30 years, top salesperson to be presumptive. You don't need to have a certain kind of background. You don't need to have a certain kind of result. You could start in sales today and be presumptive. Like you could literally start today and be presumptive, literally. But you've got to understand that people, when there's no structure, what gives clients a sense of urgency? Short-term goals and structure when they're talking to you. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. Here's going to be the result. Boom, boom. And here are our next steps. It gives them a sense of urgency to buy, as opposed to lack of structure, lack of presumptiveness, lack of confidence on your part. And then you wonder why you say the clients are rude or they act out over the phone because you didn't provide any structure. You weren't confident. You're blaming them for your lack of confidence. Now I'm a little confused, right? You're blaming them for your lack of confidence. They're acting out because you're not presumptive in assuming the sale. They asked you to call them. They are assuming that you would assume they want to buy something. They should be. If they're not assuming that, they're wrong. Unless you're not. And if you're not assuming it, they're like, he or she can't be the person to protect my family. Now, you're going to make sales by accident. I'm going to be honest with you. You're going to, I thinking about any sale, you're going to have 25% of people are going to be really hard to get them, they might be set out to say no immediately. There's 25%, no matter what you do, they're going to buy. There's 25%, you got a little bit more. Everything you're selling product-wise will be a little bit different percentages. But I think there's 4 buckets people kind of, I don't really want to hear it today, and you do everything you can. Small percentage, you're not going to do it. Cool. There's a percentage that you call and say about nothing. They're already going to buy the product. They're already so hell-bent on buying it. They want to buy it. You about can't screw it up. There's a bucket where you got to do a little bit, ask a few questions, go back and forth. And then that third bucket, you got to work a lot harder at it. But when you can get really good, you can maneuver those earlier buckets. And I think that now life insurance, my deal was I was 25%. I was like 25% are gonna buy it no matter what. That was my thing. They just statistically they did. I'm like, they're gonna buy it no matter what. I'm gonna show up and be like, you fill this out, yeah. Before you know it, I don't even know what happened. We're done. 25% will ask a question or 2 or 3, and usually when I'm assertive and presumptive, they don't ask many questions of me. The third 20, that's 50%. Now I can close half. Now to get to 75%, I got to do some work. I got to do some work. It's going to be more work. I am presumptive. Yeah, I'm assumptive, but there's going to be a little bit more there. I'm going to ask my uncle. I'm going to do this here. I was thinking about calling this guy. I do some work. And then there's a percentage, 25%, where I'm like, dude, if I feel it and it's like that from the beginning, and I know they're probably not going to be a buyer, I'm not going to argue with them for 25 minutes. I'm like, you're part of that first 25%. I'm not mad at you. Let me get over here to everybody else. So I think, but I also don't pretend to know who's in what bucket when I call. I assume and presume that every single person wants to buy. And they want to buy now. And they want to buy from me. And why do they want to buy from me? If you can't tell yourself 3 reasons why people should want to work with you, it's hard to be presumptive. I'm like, because number 1, I'm never going to lie to you and your family. I'm going to do my job always. I work really, really hard. And you'll be able to reach me and hear back from me within 24 hours, no matter what happens with your family, with your product, with your case, with your file, no matter what. And I give you those three things you should want to work with me. I give you other ones, but I give you those three things you should want to work with me. So you have to ask yourself when you're talking to people, are you being presumptive? Are you assuming the sale? Are you assuming that it's going to be really bad and they're not going to buy? Are you assuming that they're going to be a pain? Are you assuming they're going to drive you crazy? Are you assuming they're going to say no? If you assume all those things, you'll never get ahead. It's like literally impossible to get ahead because you're already destined to fail. But what if? What if you decide everybody I call as a client, I'm going to be presumptive in everything I say. If they say they're not going to, I'm going to be confused. Like, well, Shawn, it's just not really a good time. I'm like, Tom, I hear you, man, but there's never a good time. So like I was saying, like you just get back to it. Can you call me back? That'd be weird, Tom. You filled something out. I called you on the phone. Now you want me to hang up and then call you back again. And we get thousands of these things a week. I can't promise that. So here's what we're going to do, Tom. Let me get you the information. Here's what we're going to do, Tom. It takes me 10 or 15 minutes. Here's what we're going to do, Tom. Like I was saying. And I just keep moving. And what's weird about it, it's like when you're trying to get somebody's banking information. I didn't try to. I did. I'm like, so here's what we got to do, Tom. Now that we're here, I need to go ahead and get the banking information. We get this thing closed out, get you your product, get your policy, get whatever I'm selling, and get that enforced for you and your family immediately. I need you to grab your bank account information. I need you to grab your routing number and your account number. Now, now would be the time we do it. We can't buy it without that. Ridiculously presumptive. And I'm not asking that with trepidation or, oh my God, what am I going to do? And what if they say, what are they going to say? No. Are they going to say? I am assuming that since they are a lead and I called them and I did my job and they know the benefits, they know it's not free because that would be weird. They know it costs money. And for me to go ahead and say, now I need you to grab your bank account information, I am presumptively believing they're going to grab that. Sometimes they go, you need it right now? I'm like, yeah, we need it right now. People to get this thing started. We have to. We have no choice. So anyway, and you know what happens? Almost all the time, they just do it. Because when you're presumptive in your approach, they're typically very good at following direction. Because your presumptiveness is through the roof, which means your courage and your confidence is through the roof. And that makes them crazy, crazy, crazy comfortable. And they want to be in business with you. If you were going to buy a product, if you were going to bring your child to get some kind of service, if you were going to bring your car in to have it repaired, if you were going to go to a doctor, if you were going to bring your kid to a trainer or a piano coach or a baseball instructor, would you want somebody with confidence who was presumptive, or you want somebody that seemed uncomfortable, scared, and they weren't presumptive? Every one of us knows the answer. So why are you acting otherwise? Act as if always. Be presumptive or you will die in sales.